If you're looking at creating mosaic jewellery, then you'll want to have a look at this beautiful range of mosaic bezels. Now, the design that you put inside the bezel can be as simple or as complex as what you would like. So you can do some pretty quick turnaround beautiful projects, or you can do more involved, more complex designs in them. Now, this range of bezels was supplied by Merlin Mosaica, and I'll put her website down the bottom of the screen here. And I'll also add it into the links in the description box of this video as well, in case you'd like to go there and have a look at their other products. Now, these bezels are around about 4mm deep, and I consider that to be a really good depth to mosaic into, rather than some of the shallower bezels out in the marketplace. These take a good variety of tessera, and also they allow you to be, I think, a little bit more creative when using them. Now, there are also two types, stainless steel and black plated stainless steel. And you can also purchase matching chains separately if you want to, which is this beautiful one here. And also this beautiful one here as well. Now, I'm going to create a mosaic inside this beautiful bezel here, which is 30mm by 30mm. So I'm going to clear this area, and then when we come back, we'll start and show you what I'm going to be doing. Now, for this project, I'm going to be using some crockery and also some stained glass. Now, just to give you a little bit of a tip, when I've broken up a plate, and you know how you have offcuts left over and things like that, what I do is I tend to put them in a Ziploc plastic bag because it keeps the pieces together. And then what I do is I put this plastic bag into a box, and that box, or a container, that box then has all the other bags as well. So if I'm looking for a particular piece of crockery or a flower or whatever the case may be, I can just flick through that box and it's got all the pieces together. So I know that I'm not looking for another piece of crockery that I think I've got, but I may have used it. It's all in one place. So I find that works really well for me. And the other thing too is if I have any really short, sharp points on the actual crockery, I just give those a little nip off the end there, just so it doesn't go through the plastic bag. Like I say, it works well for me, and everyone has their own way of storing things. Now, I'm going to be using epoxy sculpt for my adhesive, and so I have a couple of containers here, part A and part B, hence these gloves being on. And I'm going to actually be grouting using epoxy sculpt as well. And the reason being is it's very fiddly to mix up a very small batch of grout just to do a small bezel. If you've got a batch of them, then that's a different thing. The other thing too is that I find that when I grout with this as well, it just finishes the piece off straight away. The only thing is you need to make sure that you get all the epoxy sculpt off the surface, including the residue, because you don't want that to harden on top of your beautiful mosaic bezel. That's what I do, but by all means, you can grout if you want to grout. Now, the next step is to cut out a vase to go in the bottom of this bezel, and I'm just going to use a piece of stained glass. I've got some other pieces here that I've selected for this bezel, but I think this piece will work in quite well. I'm not going to draw the design out. You can do that if you want to. I'm just going to wing it because it's going to be kind of like a whimsical type of piece anyway. Oh, and I had to put new gloves on because they actually ripped. I reused my gloves around about the 6 or 7 times, and of course, eventually they do give way. These are great gloves. If you want them, I'll put a link in the description box of this video if you'd like to go and have a look at them. But these are the ones I use for whenever I'm using epoxy sculpt or grouting. So all I'm going to do now is just really cut out a vase, and I'm just going to kind of wing it. It's going to be on an angle, so we're just going to put it across like that. I might put it on more of an angle actually. There you go. Just take that corner out there, and I'll just do it across here as well. So that's all it's going to be, just something like that, nothing terribly fancy. Like I say, if you want accurate, you can certainly draw it out, but that's about all I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to now mix up some epoxy sculpt, so I'll come back when I've done that. Well, we're good to go. Oh, just before I proceed is I have a container of these flat glass gems, and I'm just going to cut one up. And I'm going to cut them in halves. and then in quarters again. There we go. And I'll just get a couple of those, put them here because I'm going to be adding those into the bezel as well. Okay, I've got the epoxy sculpt here, so I'm just going to put a bit in there. I've also got a rag here with or wet rag here, just so I can take the residue off anything that I get the epoxy sculpt onto. You can use a little bit of water too if you want to flatten that out. That just kind of smooths it over if you want to do that, but I don't think that's necessary because these pieces of crockery are uneven anyway. There you go. I think that'll work quite well. And if you want to know how to mix the epoxy sculpt up, I'll put a link up the top of the screen here somewhere, and it'll take you to a video where I demonstrate how I mix it all up if you want to see that. But I've already created a few videos on that. So this is now just arranging it. So I'm not going to push it in straight. I'm not going to embed the crockery into this bezel straight away. I'm just going to arrange it first and see how we go. Because we'll probably want to change things around. This is the bit I really like doing, is arranging it to what works. There you go, I think it's looking quite good. So I'm going to do a little bit more off camera and then we'll come back and I will just then show you how to add the stained glass in that. All right, that's how it's going so far. And now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to add some stained glass in there, and I'm going to use some of these offcuts that I have here. Now the other side. Sometimes, like that piece, it just fits perfectly. Now I've pushed all these down with my fingers, so those flowers are now all set. We don't have to worry about those. Fitting quite well. I shouldn't speak too soon, but oh, how is that? Gee, I'm getting lucky. I'll probably have to start cutting some more shortly. Now what I'm going to do is wipe it over. The edge there, just to keep it clean. I mean, I'm going to be putting epoxy sculpt over the top of it anyway, but I just want to always keep it clean. Nothing on the back, no. Okay. I will need to mix up a bit more epoxy sculpt because that's worked in really quite well, but I don't have enough to actually put over the top of it. So I'm going to mix up a batch of it now. There you go. All right, I've just got a little bit here. Now I could certainly let that set up and then apply this epoxy sculpt over the top if I wanted to do that as the grout. But I'm going to do it all in one go. It might be easier for you to let this set up first, but I'll leave that up to you. And of course, like I said earlier, if you want to grout this piece, you can grout it once that epoxy sculpt has cured. So I'm just going to get this and apply it over the surface and work it in. You won't need a lot. Rag, wipe it all down. Just clean up your lines as you would with grout. Get all that excess epoxy sculpt off. Make sure all your edges are nice and clean on the surface. All right, that's what we're up to. It's a little bit messy. But I think it's looking really quite good. So I'm going to go off camera now, take this outside, have a pretty good look at it, you know, turn it around from different angles to see if there's any other cleaning that needs to be done to it. Well, there you go. It's all finished and I think it looks really beautiful. It's quite a cute piece and I think it would make a really lovely gift. Now I did alter a couple of things just around here and pushed them a bit close together. I just thought that improved the design, but that's about all I did. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out the links in the description box of this video as well. And if you did enjoy it, think about giving it a like. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. And also, if you saw value in the video, please share it far and wide. And let me know if you've created any bezels or you're looking at creating bezels, what materials, what tessera you used in the bezels, because I know my viewers enjoy reading your comments and I like to read them as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.